In this episode, we answer, I'm 14 and I want to start taking protein shakes. Should I? How do I improve my daughter's confidence? What is the worst breakfast that my child can be eating? And how many press-ups should I be able to do?
You ask questions and we'll answer them. This is the Ask Dvcc Academy Edition show.
Hey, this is Mark and Steve from the Dvcc, and this is the Ask Dvcc show, Academy Edition. So in this episode, we answer questions to do with young adults that are kind of 11 to 17-year-olds that suit our Dvcc Academy program, but also it will transpose across to much younger children or young adults all the way down to kind of toddlers, really, basically. So, first question is...
What is the worst breakfast that my child can eat?
So this is an interesting one because we're kind of passionate about this and we see it every day when we're travelling around all the different centres or all the different... We stop off at Waitrose, coffee shops, all different things, and we see lots of children stopping in there for their breakfast every day. But the point with this is it's not about being judgmental about what other people are eating or what people are being fed, because often, and we'll get asked a lot, what should I actually be feeding my child to be able to let them go to school, have a lot of energy, be able to do what they want to do? Because it's just the information out there is just not known. Basically, most parents will get their information from the Kellogg's advert or the things on TV that are telling people what they should be feeding their children for breakfast. And there's really no education out there. So we wanted to correct that a little bit. And so the worst breakfast we can talk about, the worst style of breakfast, would be something that's very high in carbohydrates, but poor quality carbohydrates. So Stephen's not wanting to, we're not judging people. However, let's just simply say the worst ones to have are things like pastries with a fizzy drink. So like a Coke and a croissant would be ideal to make your child not be able to concentrate and struggle to not put on fat. So conversely to that, well, if that's what we're told by the TV adverts that we should be feeding our child, what actually should we? So ideally, it would be something that's high in protein and high in good quality fats. So for example, an omelette with some avocado would be ideal. Something very similar to that. And it's not that, we understand time is always an issue with getting children to school and things, but most of the time in all these Costas, coffee shops, Starbucks, you can still get those type of breakfasts. You just have to pull a few things out and move things around. But in short, the worst breakfast for a child to have, just because of productivity and acuity, will be high fat, high refined carbs, and high sugar breakfast.
I'm 14 and I want to put on muscle. Should I be having protein shakes?
I probably know exactly what this young lad's going through. We were tiny at school. We were the smallest at school. And we wanted to do everything we could to get bigger because we wanted to be bigger. Remember, every day to go walk into school, we used to drink 4 pints of milk every single morning. Every single day. It was skimmed, I think. Yeah, it was red top. And we used to, on the way to walk to school, we were drinking that every day, wanting to get big. And that was from like 14. And now, funnily enough, I can't have we're intolerant to milk. So, protein shakes, should you be having them at 14? No. I'll say it out there. You're not an Olympic athlete, I'm pretty sure. If you are, you'd probably have been advised. You're not in training for the Olympics or something like that, and therefore, I'm sure your nutrition isn't going to be 100%. With everything, you want to focus on your food first for the next 4-5 years. Get that really nailed in. Have it so you're eating perfectly all the time without any hassles. You live a good life, but supplements are there to supplement your nutrition, and therefore, if you're not getting enough protein from your everyday food, you fix that first. You don't go and start taking protein shakes, because if you're trying to take a shortcut at 14, by the time you're 25, you'll be not formulating any of the habits that will actually make you be able to get long-term results. Plus, eating your protein has a much better impact on your body than drinking it anyway. So, in short, no, you don't. Focus on your food, focus on getting your healthy habits, certainly at 14, until you're 18 plus, until you actually need to supplement with a supplement.
How do I develop my daughter's confidence?
This is quite an interesting one because a lot of parents are very concerned about developing a level of confidence in, we talk about daughters, but it's the same for boys as it is for girls. However, I think with a lot of media and things, there's a lot more pressure on girls to be a certain way physically, or feel like they should be a certain way physically, than there is for boys, although that's actually increasing as well. Now, the way our attitude is at the DVCC is that we want people to focus on their progress rather than perfection. So if they're constantly comparing themselves against some ideal on a magazine which is actually photoshopped anyway and is not realistic, then they're never going to be happy. But if they can be constantly reminded about the progress they've made, so the things that they've done well, the things that are going well, then eventually you're going to find that you're constantly looking at that progress rather than this level of perfection, because the perfection is like the horizon. It will constantly move ahead. You'll never actually get there, and you'll never actually feel adequate. And it's an interesting one because we always talk about the gap theory at the DVCC, and the gap theory is basically where you're comparing yourself to where you want to go to compared to what you've achieved. So young adults are probably even more impressionable, or they are more impressionable than adults, and they're constantly looking in the magazines, like Stephen says, wanting to be at something or somewhere and be at a certain stage when they should be looking behind and see where they've come from. And so it's just a reminder. You just got to constantly remind. I think we all need being reminded of that. But obviously, young adults are even more impressionable. And it's just focusing on the things that they're progressing at rather than where they want to go. And something we recommend actually to all clients of the DVCC is that they essentially do an audit at the end of the day, what the wins were. What did they do well? What went well for them in that day? And if you do that regularly, every day, for a week or two, you'll suddenly find that you're focusing on what has gone well. And it's the same. It's not about the first day, the second day you do it. It's doing that every single day. Like say, for 6 months, then you'll notice naturally that if you're grateful and if you're looking at what you've achieved, you naturally focus on the good, the positive, the things that you've done well, rather than the negative. And even if you start off just by noticing 3 things a day, in 6 months' time, 6 times 3 is a lot. And that's how many times you've acknowledged your progress. Exactly. Reinforced your progress and reinforced that you've done well. Cool.
How many press-ups should I be able to do?
So, obviously, a young lad, how many press-ups should you be able to do? Always answer all of them, but it's kind of a bit different, isn't it? Different for different ages, different for different abilities. It's a tough one to answer that because what you want to be focusing on, being able to do a good amount for your body weight, your frame. But the way that we probably would answer it is more than you were able to do last week. So, better answer them all. Rather than focusing on the number you should be able to do, focus on the number that you've progressed to be able to do. So if you're able to do 1 or half of 1 last week, then maybe you can do 1 this week. That's progress. Rather than thinking that you should be doing 50, or same deal, progress, not perfection. Exactly. So really, there is no right amount. There is no perfect number. The perfect number is just progress, just doing more than you did before. Got to fly by the microphone. Hopefully it's not buzzing next to your ear. But this is the thing for young adults, and this is what we do focus on with the Academy, is progress, not perfection, as we keep reiterating. But that's what it is. It's all about progressing from the last time to the next time. Focusing on what you've achieved, and then just trying to gradually improve that, especially at young 11 to 17. If things are formulated at such a young age, by the time someone's gone from 11 to 17, they've achieved so much without even really realizing it. And it's just habits, because that will allow you to do anything you want in life, essentially, because you're just used to keeping your confidence and your self-esteem high, and then just looking at the progress you've made so that you're just constantly looking to make progress, not focusing on what you haven't achieved yet, focusing on what you have achieved and using that as inspiration and motivation to do more. Cool, this is Mark and Steve from the DVCC. This was the DVCC Academy edition. As always, if you or your children or young adults have any questions, put them in the box below. Ask us, email us, tweet us, ask any of the team, they'll pass it across. We're trying to do more and more of these videos to help as many people as we can, as many young adults as we can. So simply ask the questions and we will answer them. This is Mark and Steve from the DVCC.